Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Magnum.
He got the Magnum shirt.
This is the palace. This is Hawaii's the only state in the Union with a palace because that's it used to be a king. See, the rest of the stuff. Let's go. Kill away. Oh, okay.
My daughter got him shirt.
Okay. If you want to look like you're a politician or a banker, and you're inside out.
Really?
Yeah, because it gives it a softer look. Yeah.
Don't show your belly. Don't take off your clothes.
So I wear one. Maybe next time I'll wear one. And then that's the kind of it used not as much, but it used to be the locals would take it inside out. So they look because they look faded. So like you and the tourists all bought new ones and more faded. So you tell them who's
Yeah, but it's Toastmasters over there.
No.
I've been with Rick and Tim a whole lot online. District 49, I think it was. District 49.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't get out of the middle of the aisle.
I've been on Facebook talking back and forth.
Oh,
Right.
you gonna go there? Go do it?
No, it's just online. I've been there once, that's good enough.
Yeah.
It's hard to travel that far.
District 49.
I think that's what it was.
See, they used to want to be the 49th state,
Ah.
Alaska even. So they used to have already, there's these things, you know, there's different times they use 49, but they did either 40, they wanted to be up to 49. But that's Alaska, and then they became 50.
Well, they got, I'm pretty sure that they got
District 49.
so they got the 49.
Because there's a 49ers restaurant, there's a 40, a whole bunch of stuff with 49ers. And that's what it is. They were hoping to be 49, but they got 50 instead.
I gotta go to Rex and start.
General evaluator, huh?
Yeah, gosh. I didn't figure out what I want to do. Then today, we started asking, who's going to be this, who's that?
So,
But anyway, you have to participate, otherwise it's not worth it. If you don't participate, you know, yeah. Especially in high school, I had a real hard time talking. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's still something that's a challenge.
yes.
So I think like a 5 minute announcement. Thanks.
Yes.
Colored pink. See, the color pink.
Timekeeper.
Huh?
Timekeeper.
Come.
Okay. It's similar. Just one prepared speech is for Sarana. I will explain the time for her. When we are on the minute 50 or her speech, we will see the light green. When it's on 17 minutes and 30 seconds, she will see like a yellow. And finally, when she is on 20 minutes, she will see the red light. For the other speech, for table topics, for 1 minute you will see the light on green. For 1 minute and 30 seconds you will see the yellow light. And finally, for 2 minutes you will see the light on red. You have 30 seconds for finish your speech. El día de hoy tenemos solamente un discurso preparado, son de 20 minutos. Voy a estarle ayudando con las luces para decirle cuando esté por terminar su tiempo. Para Table Topics, es un discurso de 2 minutos. Les voy a asistir con la luz verde cuando lleven 1 minuto, la luz amarilla cuando lleven 1 minuto con 30 y finalmente rojo cuando estén en 2 minutos. Then this is today on my role, and I hope you see you on the end of the meeting. Tell to you about your times.
Okay, those are our 4 evaluators. Each speech will have an evaluator too. And now I would like to I'd like to thank everybody for coming. And Toastmasters, we can't have Toastmasters without participation, so everybody's needed. And I'd like to turn this back to Maureen now.
Our speaker tonight is one of the pillars of our club. She has served as our treasurer for several cycles, and I'm very happy she's doing that job. Her evaluator of her speech tonight will be Coyle Morando, and could you tell us her objectives?
Of course. Every speech has a purpose. Cada discurso tiene un propósito. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn about and practice facilitating a question and answer session. The purpose of this speech is for the member to practice delivering an informative speech running a well-organized question and answer session. El propósito de este discurso es que el socio pueda facilitar una sesión de preguntas y respuestas y que pueda ser un discurso informativo.
Our speaker, Serena, is planning to give this speech at Open Circles, which is held right here in the Chapala Society. And we've been invited, and she has risen to the opportunity to represent our club in October at the Open Circle Forum. Marissa and Ken and Alfredo will also be supporting her to present this topic about our wonderful club. Besides practicing part of the presentation, as Coyle said, the project is to facilitate and practice learning to take questions and answer them at the Open Circle Forum. So join me in giving a round of applause for Serena as she talks about cultural differences in Lakeside. Serena Donaldson.
I moved here almost exactly 5 years and 6 months ago. And when I came to Mexico, I carried with me stereotypes about the country of Mexico and about the Mexican people. What I didn't realize was that I was going to be entering an environment that had stereotypical thoughts about who I would be as an American coming to Mexico. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight's topic is to explore the idea of stereotypes, why humans have them, how they affect us, and what can we do about it. And I'm going to ask you to participate at various parts in the session. So when you live in the United States and there's discussion about Mexican people, typically in the news it revolves around 2 subjects. One would be Mexicans that are trying to get into the United States looking for a better way of life, which now that I live down here, I have to question. And then the second thing that's in the news in the United States about Mexico is about all of the violence and the cartels and the destruction that they cause to this society. And so from those 2 news sources, ideas about Mexico and what the Mexican people are rise to the surface and get embedded in our brains, whether we want them to or not. So first off, I'm going to tell you myself and from doing a little research what stereotypes are considered typical about Mexico. I'm going to start with the negative ones first. We are often told that Mexican people are lazy. We are also told that they are very often late. We're told that the entire country is not safe.
Oh. United
The
States
entire
is
country
not
is dangerous. And then finally, that all Mexicans are poor. The positives that we hear about Mexican people is that they're very family oriented. Ooh, I better get that green. So they're very family oriented. They actually, which is kind of funny compared to this one, are hardworking. So how you can be hardworking and lazy at the same time, I have no idea. That they're religious, and that they're honest. Now, I have a couple other Americans in the group. Are there other stereotypes that you came down here with about Mexico or Mexicans that you want to add to the list?
They cook well.
They cook well, good cooks. How about just good food?
Good food.
And I apologize if this board, I'll have a better one for open circle. Any other stereotypes that Americans brought down with them?
They're very friendly.
They're very friendly.
Yes.
I agree with that. All right, let's turn the tables and look at the stereotypes about Americans, and I'll throw Canadians in there too, because I think they're generally considered the same. What would you say? I'm going to ask my Mexicans, and I'll add any up here that they didn't come up with. What are stereotypes about Americans or Canadians that you have in your head?
They're rich.
They are rich. They're positive or negative. So I'm going to make a blue line. So blue is NOBs, we'll call them rich, north of the border. Anything else?
Arrogant.
Arrogant.
Very lazy.
Lazy.
Yeah.
Yes, Sophia.
They have no patience.
No patience.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Oh, that's a negative. I'll put that over here. No patience. Anything else?
Always hungry. Hungry.
Always
Hungry.
hungry?
Always
Angry.
Angry.
No,
Angry.
Unless it's
No,
hungry.
no, it's hungry.
Not angry?
No.
Angrier.
Enojado, right?
Enojado.
Yeah, angry.
In a hurry.
But if it's hungry, then it
No,
goes with
that's
the
not
good food.
Time obsessed.
I'm sorry? Time
Obsessed with time, that could be.
All right, what about loud? And how they talk. Now, your music is loud.
Oh, yes.
Very
I've
loud.
always talked loud.
Yeah.
Well,
loud.
4 kids, a bunch of grandbabies, I had to holler.
How about everyone owns a gun was something that I read that is a common perception about Americans, yes?
That they are always gonna have blue eyes.
Blue eyes, interesting.
No.
Physical
And
characteristics.
hair
Brown.
Blonde hair. Blonde hair.
You
Is that in the middle? Is that
Tell
kind of
Mexico.
I think that was the most.
Well, hey.
Okay, other common stereotypes are that we are overly patriotic. We're like too proud of our country. Say that.
No, not me, I'm very ashamed of the way it is now.
That's why I'm living down here.
Very
So.
ashamed.
And racist, that they're racist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
For
So
real.
you can just, how about other good things? I found that they're perceived as being very generous. Are Americans considered generous?
Sometimes,
Hardworking. friendly, and helpful. In fact, a couple different comments I read were from people from various parts of the world that come to the United States and need help with directions or finding a place to stay or whatever, and Americans can be very helpful in those situations. So I mentioned that in the United States we have news sources that help feed our stereotypes about how we perceive Mexicans, and I'm sure the same would be said down here. But actually a study was done by University of California in Los Angeles of examining entertainment, so movies and TV, and how are Mexicans portrayed in these mediums, and how that affects our perception. So mediums such as the roles people have on television and in movies help to create stereotypes for people who watch those things. So what they found was that when they surveyed 3,000 people, not Mexicans, about Mexican people, their perception was that the media, meaning TV and movies, portray Mexican people 71% of the time in a criminal light, meaning that they're doing criminal activities in movies and TV. Or 64% of them perceive Mexican people portraying a role as a gardener, and 61% as a maid. So if you're a man in a movie or a TV show in the United States, you're a gardener, and if you're a woman, you're the maid. And then 46% of the time they're portrayed as a dropout, which would be equivalent to not having a good education because you dropped out of school. And 47% of the people in the survey hardly ever recalled seeing a Mexican portrayed in a professional role as like a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a nurse. So when you think about that, I think the percentage in the United States is up to 18 or 20% of the population of the United States is now Latino, and that 71% of the roles tend to have a criminal element involved in them, that people are going to start to react to their neighbors who are Latino in a negative manner. Because the media is putting ideas in their heads about who Mexican people and other Latin countries are, and that's what creates a stereotype. So where does the stereotype about Mexicans come from in the United States? Often from the news, from movies and TV, and those stereotypes are very negative. Another survey, I didn't write down the results, but it was pretty amazing. Something like 70% of Americans do not know a Mexican very well. They don't interact with them, they don't work with them, or they don't have friends who are Mexicans. So you add that component of not knowing someone personally to the stereotypes they see in the media, and you have a recipe for a very unhealthy perception of them. Now, social scientists have looked into why do human beings have stereotypes, and it goes way back into our history in that human beings have to create very quick judgments when they encounter other human beings, because it can be a confrontational situation, especially in the olden days when we really had to fight for resources. You could encounter other human beings and they could be your enemy. So how do you know if this stranger comes up, if they're a friend or an enemy? You have to pass a judgment. And the judgment could be they have blonde hair and blue eyes, they're American, and they're rich. And depending on where you're from, that's either a positive thing or a negative thing. But this is the origin of where human beings develop this concept of stereotypes. But unfortunately, our current technology spreads information that creates and reinforces stereotypes that no longer benefit us. So what are the impacts of having stereotypes about other people? It affects the way we interact with them in our jobs, and it affects the way we interact with them as neighbors, and it affects policy decisions. All these you can easily come up with on your own. The one that I read about today that I had no comprehension about was that it affects the person in how they perform their jobs. or how well they do in school. And I'm not just talking about Mexican stereotypes here. Asians are supposed to be great at science and math. You know, black people are supposed to be slower and less communicative than white people. These are stereotypes there. So studies were done that if you mention to a black person that this test I'm going to give you is going to assess your communication skills, they scored lower than if you just said, here's a test to measure your reading aptitude. Because we have the stereotype, because they've been absorbed that for themselves, if you mention it to them before they're examined on that topic, they're going to score lower because their brain is going, you know what, they always told me I'm Asian and I'm bad at math, how can that be? You know, so they get test anxiety, or they get performance anxiety, or they develop not depression, but concerns, worries about how they're going to be perceived. And they're related to the stereotypes. Well, now I talked a whole lot of theory and a whole lot of numbers, but I want to use the question and answer portion of this session to talk about how this affects us here in Lakeside in our day-to-day living. So I'll give you 2 examples from my own life. In the United States, it is considered that if you're not 5 minutes early for an appointment, you're late. We are that time obsessed. And it comes from the business world. Because if you want to show yourself as a professional, successful person, you show up on time and prepared. And what's the best way to show up on time? Be there a little bit early. So when you come down here, and it's all a little bit-ish, 7-ish, 8-ish, 9-ish, that is very unsettling for Americans. And it's something that we have to recognize is our personal ingrained stereotype that we're bringing here that needs to be let go, because we're in your culture. On the other hand, a very different example, in the United States, you cannot buy anything unless you pay for it at that time or write out a document saying you're going to pay for something. When we moved down here, my husband and I wanted to buy a couch. And we went to the little furniture store next to Oxo on the Carretera. And at that time, he didn't take credit cards. And we were 2,000 pesos short for the couch we wanted to buy and other things. And he's like, oh, that's fine, just bring it tomorrow. What? No, really, we can come back. No. You know, I write you a receipt that shows you paid this amount and that you owe this amount. And in fact, you can give it to the delivery man when he brings the couch to your house. And what? What? I mean, that would never, ever happen in the United States. Now, I don't know if partly that's because we use credit cards so much in the United States, so almost everybody has one, so you can kind of always pay with the credit card and then pay the bank later for that purchase. But that was something that just completely, we never encountered that before, and it was a really positive thing. That man trusted us to come back with that money. So what did we do? Silly Americans, we went immediately to the bank, took out money, and immediately went back and paid, because we don't like to owe anybody money. So what are examples of things that you run into, either as an American dealing with Mexican people, or Mexican people encountering Americans that deal with any of these stereotypes, positive or negative?
I guess taking my mom here from the States to Mexico, most of the family members were, okay, let's give it a try. And then one family member who's very politically correct in America suddenly was spouting all these real negative stereotypes about Mexicans, because I guess it's across the border, so she doesn't care. You know, in the States she would never use those stereotypes, but then suddenly it was, oh, they don't keep records, they don't follow procedures, and then in fact now 5 years later, my mom's better off here. She's doing better here, and we're all, even that sister is convinced of that. So
So not only didn't you encounter it, it was so positive that your sister was able to change her
she
mind.
changed her mind. And then whatever skepticism, because we hadn't done this before, okay, so of course all of us had some skepticism. Yes. But pretty much all of us agree that she's way better off here, and the price, of course, the price is way better, but the quality of medicine is better too. The concept of healthcare, all that's better.
How about a Mexican giving a perception of things they encountered with an American or Canadian? Yes, well,
We have the perception that Americans don't want to learn Spanish. It's very interesting that most of the restaurants here are, the menu are in English. Actually, Trips Burger in Central Laguna is all in English. It's very interesting because it's the country Mexico, the mother language is Spanish, and most of them are not willing to learn Spanish.
well, it's interesting that you say that, because I was thinking about that one before I came tonight, and I have two responses to that. One is that when I try to speak Spanish in a restaurant in the immediate area, the waiters always speak English to me. So it makes it very hard for me to learn the Spanish when the Mexicans I encounter speak English to me. But also, and I've struggled, I've been here 5.5 years and I don't speak nearly enough Spanish. When many of the people moving here are middle-aged and up, it's so much harder to learn a language when you're older than when you're younger. And I think a few of us have run into that you try for a while and it hurts your head. And I took a year break and now I just signed up for Spanish lessons again. But you just get out of the habit of exercising your brain that much and it can be overwhelming. Anybody else have a positive or negative stereotype they want to explore? Ken?
I notice Americans, they're like me, anybody that's kind of brown skinned and speaks Spanish, they're all Mexicans, but that's not true.
Very true. Yeah,
It's,
that happens a lot in the United States, that people come from multiple countries in Central South America, and they're just all whitewashed as being Mexicans. One last one before we wrap up.
Is it okay, I guess a positive thing I'm noticing that doesn't fit the stereotype
Okay.
is construction projects are actually, like trains, airports are actually being built faster, and I'm not gonna say better, but let's say faster here in Mexico, and the budget is just a fraction of what it is in the States. And then in the States, big projects now, like the train in California, they're not gonna finish that train, it looks like. And the budget's like 130 million, and they started at 33, and now, and it's, in terms of being late, they're doubling the schedules and tripling. Honolulu did one in a train similar to the one here in Guadalajara, and it's gonna be 15 billion to do 22 miles, and it's gonna take them going on 20 years to do it. And meanwhile, Guadalajara did it 6 years for 1.5 billion. So there's certain stereotypes, like Mexicans don't adapt to things, and well, I think the shoes start to be on the other foot here sometimes, you know. It's not always, but sometimes a lot of us are gonna have to update our stereotypes.
Well, we could have a whole separate discussion on how regulation affects things like
Yeah,
money
that's true.
spent and timelines for construction projects
Yeah,
and the like. Well, we're out of time, and I hope in my open circle session, since we will have more time to spend, we'll be able to delve into how having respect for one another can obliterate all the stereotypes on the board. Toastmasters.
Way to go, Serena. Yeah, breaking down stereotypes was a really big focus of my job or my work in corporate training, going into companies and getting people to examine exactly what she did, the stereotypes that we have about different groups of people. It's fascinating. Well, now's the time in our session where we get to be frightened. So our table topic master is Knittel. Could you please come up here? Tell us what you're gonna do.
Thank you, Maury. Well, we're at the part of the meeting where we talk about giving unprepared speeches when it's a whole lot, when you're in a surprise and just a few seconds to think about an answer. So we practice this and get better and better at it. So I'm going to come up with some questions and let y'all think about it, and then I'm going to pick somebody that's want to come up here and answer the questions. My first one is if animals could talk, what would they say about you? Si los animales pudieran hablar, ¿qué dirían de ti? So, the reason I'm giving y'all too much time to think about that. That's dope.
If animals could talk to me, only to me, probably they say good things, because I love animals, especially dogs. I think dogs are very friendly with humans instead of the cats. Cats are very special animals. They feel like superior animals of every other. And I will be very friendly with my dogs. I have 9 dogs. Not all on my house, of course. Yeah, 9 dogs, and there were more. But some dogs died. And we got more dogs. If they could talk to me, I guess they say, feed me for the love of God, because I'm hungry. Most of them just ate that we got in the house. We feed them with animal food, but they don't like it. They will like tortillas,
Yeah.
meat, something like that. I think they will be very bored eating food for the dogs. I think they say, please give me some meat.
If you travel back in time for 200 years, how would you prove that you were from the future? Si viajaras en tiempo 200 años atrás, ¿cómo podrías que eres del futuro? Angel.
¿Probarías? ¿Cómo? ¿Probarías?
¿Cómo les dirías que es el futuro? English, please.
200 años atrás, o sea, una época donde sería muy, como todo un mexicano, 200 años atrás sería un macho, ahí está tu sombra. Viviendo la época de las creencias en su momento, donde donde creo que mi personalidad sería muy diferente, obviamente, tuviera el mismo miedo por hablar en público, tendría otro tipo de formas de ver la vida, formas de creencias, de ver las cosas diferente por cómo se vivía la sociedad hace 200 años. Y creo que no sería una persona. Sí, está complicado. Nunca me había preguntado eso.
What is the worst smell you have ever experienced? ¿Cuál es el peor olor que has experimentado? No.
Toastmasters, members, anybody. The body, the sprite, the body is the best and the bad when I knows. The best when I feel good. When I feel the natural time. When I hear. When I say, this is I. The bad, when I angry with me, of course. When I feel bad with me. When I need this connection with me. Because the moment is, for my life, is now. And now, I feel real very good.
What is your hidden talent? ¿Cuál es su talento oculto? Joy?
Huh? Oh.
Would you like to answer one?
No, I'm not a member.
Come on.
Just, mine's just natural.
Come
I'm
on.
a curly night.
Come on.
I don't know. I got nothing, did
You're a Linda.
Oh, I
On the front.
Yeah, come here. Let's do it.
Just get up.
I got false teeth. I got
What?
Makes for a beautiful smile.
Well, thank you, Joy. If you could go back in time and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Si pudieras retroceder en el tiempo y decirle una cosa a tu yo más joven, ¿cuál sería? Mario.
Más joven, tío.
Well,
Soy yo más joven.
you still more young? Well,
I'm big.
I'm thinking I will choose my 9 years old version. I will say to my 9 years old version, don't worry, Mario, you are going to be tall, you are going to be maybe handsome, like a Mexican movie star, you know. And don't worry, Mario, you are going to hand your personality, your problems with the life, your fears, and don't worry, it will be better for you. And just only prepare yourself, and please learn more English because you will need it. And I think that's everything.
What is something you tried but never would do again? ¿Cuál es algo que has intentado pero nunca volverías a hacer? Alejandro.
Oh my gosh. I need to choose one. Something that I tried and I knew never do again was go on the roller coaster. The first time that I do it was like a child. I mean, I have like a 10 years. And all my friends, do it, we do it. And I say, it's too high. I have very, very nervous when I go to maybe on the beach or something like that. And I say, okay, if you help me, I will do it. Never in my life. I will say the same thing again. I was so scared on the seat, and I say, I don't need to have to you for don't go up to the roller coaster. And I say, what? What you see? When I start to I will start to pray, Santa Maria. When I down, I say, oh my God, what I do? And I scream a lot. It turns around, and I say, hey, just is finished. No, it's coming 3 rides more. That's the thing I never do again, because my heart can figure it again. That's the thing that I never do again.
If you only had a week left on earth, what would you do? Si solo te quedará una semana en la tierra que harás. Cynthia.
Pero no puedo hacer la montaña. ¿Está bien?
If only I had 1 week on Earth, maybe it's because I will travel to the moon. That would be my secret. I don't know, maybe eat a lot of food that I like pastries. I love the pastries. Maybe I will make a big party with all my friends, and I don't know, maybe I take 1 or 2 days to see a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows, and make up for all my friends and all my family.
What motivates you? ¿Qué te motiva?
Sophia.
Sophia.
Toastmasters of the day, guests, members. What motivates? Maybe my future. Maybe my dog. I think that she doesn't like me a lot, but I don't care. Maybe my friend. Maybe just my decisions of what I'm gonna make in the future. Thank you.
How did you meet your best friend? ¿Cómo conociste a tu mejor amigo? Lucy, you answer? Lucy, ¿quieres?
Sí.
Ya.
La pregunta es, ¿cómo conociste a tu mejor amigo?
Sí.
Oh, muy bien. Buenas tardes a todos, mi nombre es Luzma, es la primera vez que vengo aquí y cómo conocí a mi mejor amigo más bien es decir, cómo conocí a mis mejores amigos, en este caso Kim y Joyce. Ellos los conocí a través de que yo voy a vacaciones donde ellos ahora viven. Y para mí ha sido una gran fortuna ser su amiga de ellos, porque para mí ellos son unas gran personas y yo creo que una amistad no siempre la encuentras tan fácil. Sí, creo que es todo, no tengo palabras para expresar lo que yo aprecio a ellos dos. Gracias.
Gracias, Luis. Well, I have questions, I guess. Let me,
Who's basic and who's advanced? Do you want to tell people who's advanced and who's basic? So we can
Okay,
go ahead and do that.
yeah, I don't know.
Great questions. At the bottom of your agenda, you can mark on the basic side, bicycle, for Mario, Sophia, Luzma, Advanced or Coel, Ángel, Nora, Alejandra, Basic. Cynthia's Advanced, and did I get that mixed up? Did you get Luz? Oh, Luzma, Luzma's Basic. Yes. So, Ángel will come around as soon as you, just hold up your ballot when you finish. Everybody done?
Sería que tú pongas en los básicos, que entonces te sirva en primer lugar.
Aquí es una autoridad, así según así iguales nos avanzamos por todos los que pasaban.
Sí, por ejemplo, avanzados es Cintia, Noel, Ángel, Nora. Básicos serían Mario, tú, Sofía, yo y podría ser también Esther. Yo tuve conquistas.
When she said, I thought she meant
Such a beautiful smile.
oh,
You do it well.
I thought she meant balls. That's what I said. I didn't doubt it. God, I didn't know what balls meant, but she did.
But you do it well.
When we started this club 10 years ago, our goal was to have a forum where people can practice English and practice Spanish and break out of beginning Spanish, beginning English. And it's real inspiring to see people who, like Ángel and Cynthia, who come and make the effort, and Alejandra, to speak English. And Mario's getting better, he's only been here 3 times. The way to get better at something is practicing. And practicing in a low-stress environment. I don't tell very many people. One of my titles was Language Training Specialist. I don't want to do that anymore, but that's what I did for 20 years, to help people learn enough language skills to work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And in Dallas, more than 400 languages are spoken. So we really had a need for our immigrant population to learn to speak enough English to do well at their job. And I was very privileged to see people like all of you who are growing. And Ken, your Spanish is really good. You lose paper and just talk. Well, now is the time in our session when we give feedback. And I'm delighted to introduce a relatively new Toastmaster who is going to tell about on his team to give feedback for everyone. So John, would you like to come up and give your evaluation of this session?
The speech evaluator. Okay. So our speech tonight was by Sarana Donaldson, and Joelle is the evaluator.
Candace, John just said it on
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena, for choosing me as your evaluator. It's still very hard to evaluate someone that speaks very clearly, and you're a very good Toastmaster.
I would like to tell you that it seems that you made a good research. I don't know how much time it passed since you did a long speech, but for everyone I don't know, it's very easy to understand. It not feel like a 20 minutes speech, it feels very short. Because you have a very good topic, you did a very good research, and also you give us time to respond to answers, questions. That was the purpose. You present sources, you research and present sources. Research made in California, something like that. That's very good. Also, you give appropriate time to each participant, and you use the word a day. It's very, very impressive to use the word a day in a prepared speech. I suggested that you can use the center of the stage because now we'll walk in. When you are here, the light is very appreciative to your face. You can also use this space for the light. Also, I know the word is not useful, but you can also use a presentation of like a projector to present statistics. That would be very useful for all of us. You accomplish the purpose of the speech. Congratulations. You listen very well. When we all participate, you listen all of us, and you will ask questions for every answer that we gave. It's pretty impressive, and thank you for giving us space, and give us a chance to interact. It's very fun to interact with each other in a speech. Thank you very much.
So next, evaluators are grammatician. I'm not saying that right.
Grammarian. Let's see. I didn't have very many notes, so that means we had a good grammatical session. Angel, the word is third. You stick, no, seriously, you stick your tongue out, third, and then you put it behind your teeth, third. Let's see. Howell said hungry instead of hungry. Hungry. And you also said thank you for choosing me, and it's choosing. Nora, you said the best and the bad. It's the best and the worst. And you also said this is I, and you should have said this is me. This is me. Ale, you said I had 10 years, and that's very common because we say it wrong in Spanish. I was 10 years old. And you said I have nervous, and it's I was nervous. And then Cynthia said pastries, and I think you meant pastries. But it's postre in Spanish, so it's very easy to smush them together. And that is all I had, so excellent job, everyone, with your English.
And the word of the day?
Only me.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought I said it. Sorry.
And once again, the odd number is still our president.
Okay. So you say 4 times a, 2 times so. Bjorn, you say 2 times a. Ale, you say 4 times a. Ken, you say 2 times a, 1 time so. Angel, 2 times and 4 long pauses. Mario, you said 4 times and. Cynthia, you said 2 times a, 1 and. And that's a half.
And
minutes, 09 seconds. 21 minutes, 09 seconds. For her evaluator was Joel. He spent 2 minutes, 31 seconds. Perfect, great. For table topics, Joel, 1 minute, 40 seconds. Angel, 1 minute, 46 seconds. Nora, 1 minute, 7 seconds. Linda, 25 seconds. Mario, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Me, 1 minute, 39 seconds. Cynthia, 43 seconds. Sophia, 41 seconds. Luz, 47 seconds. For Sarah as a grammarian, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Joel for a counter, 38 seconds. And me, 1 minute, 13 seconds.
Thank you, Ellen. So next is our vote counter.
I'm not
What?
I'll present those.
Oh, you'll present those. Okay, but I would like to thank Hal for doing that. Thank you. Now, oh, my evaluation. So my evaluation is everybody got A+. You're all great. I would like to reinforce with Maureen that we're all I'm trying to learn Spanish too, although I don't speak in public or in front of you guys because I'm still nervous about that. But sí, yo quiero aprender español de un día, yo quiero hacer una presentación en español.
Great.
And we're right on time, I think, because we're supposed to be at 8:15 and we're 8:09, so everybody's on time. And I'd like to thank everybody for participating and turn it back over to Marie. Thank you.
Good job, John. I love that comment, everybody's A+. One of our members has been doing an excellent job of videoing our sessions every week, and that's Kim. You have some announcements you'd like to make.
Okay. Well, I have three announcements I want to make. The first one was we had a meeting, the Open Circle Committee meeting last week, and there was we were there to decide who was going to fill up the 40 minutes when we speak. We're invited to speak at the Open Circle. Alfredo, Sarana, Marissa, and I was there, and we decided to talk about the cultural differences between the Mexicans and the expats. And we plan to give 4 points of view: the Mexican man, Mexican woman, the expat man, the expat woman. And Alfredo is a director of education of the LCS, and he's giving classes on the topic, and he's going to make us an outline for the speech. And I think Sarana got us a good start with our speech today. And we'll announce later when we get a better description. And the second announcement is I recorded this meeting, and you can watch it on the website. And there are cards at the door with the website address on it. And the third announcement was I was trying to find a video for the Open Circle so we could kind of get a better idea of what we're up against and what we're trying to, our audience, anything there. And so I couldn't find it. So yesterday I went to the Open Circle and I recorded their meeting, and I have it on the website. Go look at it. Thank you.
Very informative. I'm disappointed I will be in Griego Lanti doing research on stereotypes. So I won't be at the open circle presentation, but I hope that everyone in our club can show up to support the people who are representing our club, Serena and Ken and Marissa and Alfredo. And it'll be really nice for people with questions afterwards to have you there to answer questions about how Toastmasters has helped you to be a better person, helped you to communicate more clearly, develop leadership skills, and whatever you personally have gotten from being in this club. And now's the time we've all been waiting for. In our basic speakers in the table topics, our third place winner is Sophia. And our second place winner is Mario. Normally we keep the applause going until the person drags himself up here. And first place is Name here, and now for our advanced speakers. Third place is Cole. And second place is Nora. And first place, Cynthia. Okay. Man.
Cheese. Queso.
Ajijic.
Oh, God, the best.
My chocolate.
One little note that I will make, or notice, is that part of the table topics challenge is to speak for an entire minute. And that's to qualify and to use the word today. So out of respect for these challenges, think about that next time to really speak for the full minute and then start expanding your skills to fill the 2 minutes. And that's how we get to be better extemporaneous speakers. Practice, practice, practice. Now is when I turn control of the meeting over to our president for any further announcements. Go ahead.
Thank you, Maria, for such a good job. For announcement, BB Education, do we have an announcement? Except on the rules. Oh, membership dues. Does anybody wants to pay now? Ah, great. We have the limit of the dues is in September, right? Last September, but we have challenge to pay 8 of us, 8 of the club, this month. So now, please raise your hand who paid your membership.
has already paid.
Yes,
We have 5 that have paid.
5.
6 with Ken.
Okay.
No.
Sí, ¿cuántos ya han pagado?
¿Cuántos han pagado? Ah,
Sí, okay. We just need two people more to pay and get the challenge. For the roles, we have manuals for each role. If you have any question, please ask for the manual. We have a PDF and a print manual for each role in Spanish and English. Tenemos manuales para los roles. Si tienen alguna duda, pueden consultarlos impresos o digitales en PDF para que estudien su rol. Tenemos un rol de prueba opcional. We have an optional role, which is the quiz master and also the joke master. Does anybody want to take the joke master role for the next meeting? ¿Alguien quiere tomar el rol de joke master?
pregunta.
Eso, Ángel, muy bien.
Yo más eres el que realiza preguntas.
No, es el quiz.
Yo quiero ser el.
El joke master es el que hace bromas.
No, el quiz master.
Pero él preguntó por el show.
No, pero es que te da duda por eso.
You can reverse your role like a
Quiz master.
quiz master.
Yes.
Okay, quiz master.
Muy buena broma.
Joke master, Marie, muy bien. Es al inicio de la sesión, antes de comenzar con la evaluación. ¿Sí? El Toastmaster presenta al Joke Master, hace una broma, hace algo divertido para que comencemos bien. ¿Sí? Bien. Bien. Does anybody wants to take a role for the next meeting? We have available all the roles. Toastmaster of the day, General Evaluator, Table Topic Master, speeches, very important speeches.
We have 2.
You have the speeches, okay?
Alejandra y Ángel.
Great, Spanish, right?
Mario, you ready?
Mario,
Please, can you join?
ready to join?
For your icebreaker.
For what?
First speech.
Just for the speech.
Y lo puedes hacer en español o en inglés.
Feel free to wait in the next English lesson.
Oh, in English.
So we'll
Great.
put you down for 2 weeks in English.
Well, today is the voting for the District 24. They are voting to choose the format for the next contest. They propose to do the contest in the club, presently, physically, and the area contest virtually, like in Zoom. They are voting now, so at the end of the week or the next week, I will let you know what will be the format for the next contest, right? For the area and the division. ¿Tenemos algún otro anuncio? En español. Se van a votar hoy los formatos para el siguiente concurso de oratoria. Se propuso que el concurso de área fuera virtual y el de distrito, es área, distrito, no, área división fuera híbrido. Pero el concurso del club va a ser presencial. Presencial, los que pasen de aquí irían en formato virtual. Pero se está haciendo la votación el día de hoy. La siguiente semana les haré saber qué decisión se tomó para el formato de los concursos. ¿Algún otro aviso? Oh, okay. Luzma, ¿qué te pareció la sesión?
Muy bien, me gustó mucho la dinámica que utilizan y la verdad, felicitaciones para todos porque se expresan muy bien.
Muchas gracias. ¿Sí? ¿Tú?
Pues bien.
Pero
bien.
Bien. Este Club Toastmasters es uno de muchos que hay en todo el país, en todo el mundo. Nuestro club es de los pocos que hay aquí en México bilingües. Una sesión en español, una sesión en inglés. Obviamente los nativos, los que no hablan mucho español, no hablan mucho inglés, pueden hablar en su lengua natal. Pero la idea es escuchar y practicar. Venimos aquí a desarrollar habilidades de comunicación y liderazgo. Lo que he visto aquí es una parte nada más. Hay mucha parte detrás de liderazgo y comunicación que si te interesa, eres bienvenida.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Gracias a todos.
Bien, siendo las 8:22, we have an announcement for the dues. How much do we pay for the local dues?
200 pesos.
200 pesos. Okay. And me and Cynthia just paid credit card.
Right.
We owe you 200 pesos each.
The program the next week.
¿Vale?
Program the next week.
Programar los roles o pagar.
No, los roles.
Ah, ya lo hicimos. Sí, sí. No. ¿No?
Para la siguiente semana.
No, dijiste nada más lo que había ya.
Ah,
en la
disponible.
agenda, pero faltan
¿Quieres tomar un
otros.
rol, Rafa?
Pues saben pasar por hablar, ¿verdad?
Qué bueno que me acordaste.
Evaluador general.
¿Quién es evaluador general?
Toastmasters.
Toastmasters, muy bien. Evaluador general, ¿alguien? Yo te voto.
¿Qué más sabes?
Evaluador general.
Sofía, un rol.
Cronometrador.
Cronometrador.
Pero estoy por confirmar si estoy en el proceso.
Esperemos. Ale, evaluador general. Ya estás lista.
De la discurso.
Ah, sí. Te salvaste. Muy bien.
Y no te puedo meter, Marisela.
Faltan algunos socios, es importante. Hay que tomarlos en cuenta. Ok, los vemos en el grupo de WhatsApp. We see that those roles en el WhatsApp group. Siendo las 8:24, being 8:24, I close this meeting tonight. ¿Me ayudan a acomodar las sillas, por favor?
Claro,